it's like anything. It's like McCarthyism or witch trials. You do hit a saturation point where people start to look around and go, this is crazy. I'm not going to do your cancel game, and I'm not going to be forced to be quiet.
Right.
Which is what the McCarthyism and witch trials, and in my opinion, wokeism, tries to do. Tries to keep you in fear.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in fear anymore. I had a choice for 2 years. I could go without any money, no job, no work, or I could take the vaccine. That was my choice.
Which did you do?
It was surreal. It was like a bad Godzilla movie. It was really on a scale you can't imagine. There are bad operators in this world, and left unchecked, they will kill millions of people.
Keeping it real with Jillian Michaels.
Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I can't believe you would do it. I was so excited when they said you would do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're an absolute gangster. I mean, I knew you were, it's so, Janice, my producer's stand-up comedian, my business partner, and I are both massive fans, but we know you from stuff like SNL and, all of your movies and your relationship with Jon Stewart and Will Ferrell. And it's like you're an icon as an entertainer, Modern Family. I mean, it's like your resume is ridiculous. But then I found out you're a Marine. You did three tours of duty, right? Unless I'm getting it wrong. It was
deployments, yeah.
3 deployments.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, right. 3 deployments. So you joined the Marine Corps, and your first deployment was in Liberia?
Yeah,
in
Liberia,
a civil war.
Yeah, there was a civil war going on in Liberia, and the violence has kind of come out of the countryside into Monrovia, where the U.S. Embassy was.
Right.
And it was bad enough that we had to evacuate the embassy. So they put together the Special Purpose Marine Air Ground Task Force, and we launched out of North Carolina to go evacuate the embassy. And we have deals with our allies. So Japan, Belgium, go down the list of allies that do not have a Navy and Marine Corps that can come get them. So we had to get them out as well. So it was all of our designated third country nationals, i.e. Belgians, Japanese, whoever else was our ally. We got them out, plus we got out our embassy. It's a NEO, non-combatant evacuation operation. And so that's what we did. We secured the embassy because the fighting was going on right out in front of the embassy on a couple of occasions, and every now and then they'd shoot at the embassy, and we weren't taking sides at the time. We were just trying to protect our territory and our people. So that was in the summer of 96.
But you have said that there was so much going on, your head was literally on a swivel, constantly scanning for when someone was going to blow your head off, I would assume?
Well, yes and no. You just never knew when, you'd hear the rat-a-tat-tat of machine guns outside, because the embassy, there was a thing called UN Drive. It went kind of like in a horseshoe, and the embassy sat right here, and then there was a cliff behind it. So it dropped right off into the ocean. And so there wasn't really anywhere to go. So we kind of had to make sure that people didn't come, that they didn't turn the violence towards us. But it was so bad in Monrovia that you really couldn't venture out into the city. And so what we would do is we'd take people in. They were flooding into our embassy. We would take them, put them on helicopters, fly them out to our ship. The ship would sail north to Sierra Leone. We'd fly them off the ship to an international airport there. Then they could get flights to the rest of the world from there. Then the ship would turn around, come back. We'd load up another, and we just kept doing this for a month or two until finally everybody was out.
Right.
And then we left the embassy secure because the violence had pushed back out of Monrovia and gone back out into the countryside. So the threat wasn't as immediate anymore. But that was pretty much June, July, August. Maybe it was May, June, July, August. It was pretty much the whole summer of 96.
Then Iraq.
Then it was Kosovo. Then I went to Albania for Joint Task Force Shining Hope, which was, so when the Serbs drove into Kosovo, they drove all the ethnic Albanians out of their homes and farms, and they just drove them.
This is the Clinton administration, wasn't it? Like, I kind of remember it was a shit show, but I was, 17 breaking into raves and So like I kind of remember.
Yeah.
And you were over there.
But they drove them all down, all these ethnic Albanians, to the border. And when they fled their homes, they took everything they had on their tractors and wagons, right? So when they got to the border, they didn't want to cross over into Albania or Macedonia or anywhere the Kosovo bordered, because they couldn't take their stuff with them. So everything they owned was on these tractors and these trailers. But it was turning into a humanitarian crisis. You had hundreds of thousands of people on the border. There's no bathrooms, no sanitation, there's no showers, no food. It was becoming a humanitarian crisis. So we went over and built all these refugee camps, right, that had plumbing, had showers, had medical facilities, had all these things. And we were like, come on, it's safe. And nobody would come.
Why?
Because they didn't want to leave everything they owned on the border. So we finally struck a deal with them. We kind of went up and we said, look, the men, this sucked for the men, but the men can stay with their stuff, with all their families' heirlooms and all their wealth, and everything they have is basically in these tractors. You can stay, but the women and children, let them come down, and we promise their safety, and they'll be given food, they'll have sanitation, they'll have showers, they'll have medical. And so they agreed to that. So then our camps got flooded with women and children, but the men stayed on the border with all their stuff. But the Serbs were driving them down, and they were very aggressive. They were not. It
was an ethnic cleansing, right?
Pretty much, right. Yeah. And so they were driving them out of Kosovo. Well, so we started bombing them to stop this, and it worked. The Serbs did not like that, so a ceasefire was called, and the deal was you get out of Kosovo. So they pulled back, but when they pulled back, the world doesn't like a vacuum of power. They don't, someone's got to
say that. It was
somebody's got to be in charge. If nobody's around, someone's going to step and go, well, I guess I'm the sheriff now.
And it's usually a
bad operator or someone. Yeah. So you had a lot of things going on. You had Serb farmers, not Serb soldiers, but Serb farmers that lived in Kosovo that were happy that the Serbs were there, but then when they left, they got scared because then the KLA, the Kosovo Liberation Army, who had been hiding in the hills, came out of the hills for retribution on the Serb farmers. So when we came up, it was a British section of France, a Russian, and an American section of Kosovo, and we all had sectors of responsibility, and all we were trying to do is keep everybody apart. We were police. But of course, somebody gets drunk, comes out shooting, somebody snipes at somebody else, they all had guns still, they all had weapons. So we were trying to de-arm them. It was very chaotic and very stressful because you never know who was who. You never knew why someone was shooting at someone. We'd roll into town in these, mechanized patrols, and the Serbs would come out with espressos, and they'd be like, here, drink, stay as long as you want, because as soon as we left, the KLA would come out and start shooting at them or try to burn down their house or whatever. So, and they wanted us to stay awake on these patrols. Wow. And then the KLA thought we were their allies because we drove the Serbs out. So they're like, brother, let's go kill some Serbs. We're like, no, that's not what we're here for. We're here for your weapons. And they go, you want what? And then they didn't trust us or like us, and so it's a mess. It's a mess when people get fractured like that. And they're still holding on to some battle that took place in 1387. The beef goes back that long between some of the ethnic Albanians and the Serbs or whatever. So it was like, I can't help you if you're still mad about 1387.
It's the same that seems to go on in the Middle East, though, with this deeply historical stuff that nobody can even seem to unwind. Yeah. I was over in Jerusalem on holiday, mind you. I was coming off of a USO tour, actually, nice. And I happened to be over there. And I was like, you know what? I always wanted to see Jerusalem. This should be cool. And I went into Palestine, ironically. And I remember asking, we had this guide, and I was like, aren't you guys related? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, we really don't. I don't know. It's so old. I don't know. And I think, so old. You don't know why okay, you don't know. And the interesting thing about that USO tour that I wanted to tell you, because I heard you make a joke that if you wanted easy in the military, go to join the Air Force. Yeah. They only let us go to an Air Force base. And I was in the UAE. We were not allowed to go to Afghanistan. We weren't allowed to go to Iraq. And I have heard you say that you were pissed because nobody from the USO ever came over to these dangerous areas where you were until
not at
you
the time
did.
Anytime I was deployed, I never got a USO show. That's why when I went back on many USO tours.
And you did
just to, because I always said, if I ever get into a place, I was like, if I ever thinking way in the future, like maybe it'll work out for me. I was like, if I ever get in a place, I'm going to come back and do tours. So I did.
What do you think happens to the comedian, the actual funny guy, when nothing's funny?
Well, I think the comedians make it funny. They find some way, even if it's gallows humor. They find a way to make it funny.
How?
Well, I mean,
and is it comforting?
No, I mean,
or is it a defense mechanism?
It's a defense mechanism. It's a way to shake off. If you sat around and thought about the misery and the pain and the sadness and the humanity of it, you'd be miserable. You'd be miserable. You'd be useless. You would work yourself into a hole so fast that some part of you has to block it out, has to ignore it, and has to try to find a way to continue smiling, continue laughing. And it's not at the incident. It's not, oh, look at this bombed out building, all the dead bodies. Ha ha ha. It's not that. It's joking with each other. It's making fun of each other. It's staying connected with each other and having a laugh amongst ourselves. It's not laughing at the pain and misery of the situation necessarily. It's finding a way to maintain, because to me that's humanity. Is the laughter and the
Woody Allen comedy is tragedy plus time.
I think so. Yeah, I mean. 9/11, probably one of the worst things that's ever happened in my lifetime.
I know. You went and cleaned up the mess, which I wanted, but don't jump there yet. Talk about it. Don't go, because I'll go down a rabbit hole. I still have more here. I'm not done with you here.
Okay. But that was one of the worst things that ever happened in my lifetime that I actually witnessed and saw and everything. So, you wouldn't think, but Louis C.K. comes out with some hilarious jokes about it, a couple years later, and you're like, oh my God, that's so funny. Should I be laughing? No, of course not. But it's funny.
As a stand-up comedian, I think that's what you guys bring to our culture is the ability to laugh about it, right? And I remember growing up, at least we're of the same generation, right? Like you would make jokes about race and you'd make fun of yourself and it kind of diffused everything. And
took the sting out of it.
Yes. And now that's all become so taboo, I've never seen a climate so racially charged in my personal lifetime.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on, we've seen Seinfeld kind of come out and talk about it and everyone's like, oh, it's going away. Look at this Netflix special we did for Tom Brady. I'm like, one Netflix special?
Does not.
Is it really? Like, okay. And they all managed to survive. That's incredible. Nobody's career was destroyed. But what do you think about what's happening? Does it alarm you? Is there a way out of it? What harm do you think it's doing or not? What are your thoughts culturally about this whole woke thing and going after Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan and all of this shit?
Yeah. Well, we have it pretty good if you're going to go after the comedians. Life is pretty good if that's your target.
Problem, yeah.
I would go back. I went back this year, 24. I went back and read 1984, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Here we go. The thought police. They're out there. And if they're trying to control what you say and what you think, that's a problem. And what words you can use, what words you can't use. Now, I would hope that if you're going to stand on a stage and entertain, and you take risk, which is a good thing, you have to exercise some judgment. You can't go out there and say the most graphic things possible without some pushback, and to me, I think you can get away with saying whatever, provided it's funny. If it makes me laugh, I'm like, all right, I'll give that to you.
Dave Chappelle makes me laugh my ass off. They go for his head.
Yeah, well,
they don't have it.
That's because they're afraid of what he's saying. For whatever reason, they're afraid. I think there's two emotions in the world and everything stems from those two. And it's love and fear. And I think all the dark emotions and all the dark feelings and all the dark actions in the world come from fear, and all the light and good things come from love. And I think when people I don't want to hear you say that word. I don't want to hear you make that reference. I don't want to hear, it's because they're afraid of something.
Right.
And I don't know what it is. Maybe they're afraid that his idea, people will embrace it, or maybe they're afraid of whatever they're afraid of, but it comes from fear. So I don't care for wokeness. I don't think I think now enough people, it's like anything. It's like McCarthyism or witch trials. You do hit a saturation point where people start to look around and go, this is crazy. This is crazy.
They think everyone,
and I think it's happening now.
Crazy.
I think it's happening now because now more people are like, sue me, come after me. I don't care anymore. I'm going to go do my show. You want to cancel me? Try. I don't care because I have enough people that are with me, and enough people are done being afraid, fear, are done being afraid that they're going, yeah, I'm with him. I'm with her. I'm going to go. I think she's funny. I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the show. I'm not going to do your cancel game, and I'm not going to be forced to be quiet.
Right.
Which is what the McCarthyism and witch trials, and in my opinion, wokeism tries to do. Tries to keep you in fear.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in fear anymore.
But the big companies need to continue to push back. So I was, again, looking into this gender-affirming care argument, or however you want to define it. And there was Abigail Shrier who wrote this book called Irreversible Damage. And she looked at how teen girls are the greatest population getting into this now. Her book, she's an incredibly respected journalist, Rob. Her book was pulled for a year by Target and Amazon, and the Book Publishers Association apologized for publishing the book.
And 1984, people. 1984. Go read it again.
They came for, there was a demand to fire Rogan. The Netflix employees have demanded. The Google employees have demanded. And it does seem to be this younger generation of more fragile people.
Well, they're afraid.
So is that because we didn't rough them up a bit?
I don't know. I think they.
What the fuck is that? I would never even imagine.
All their media, all their television shows, all their films, which is one of the main sources of social growth and how you learn. You watch a movie, you're like, oh, that's a romantic comedy. Oh, I'm supposed to bring flowers. Oh, I'm supposed to be nice. Oh, I'm supposed to be extra thoughtful. Oh, I'm supposed to do. That's how I'm supposed to be. Well, they were given a lot of messaging. And they also watched their parents go through the housing problem. They saw them lose jobs. So they have this fear. They live in a fear bubble, and they're also very much indoctrinated into this sense of where's the herd going? What's the herd doing? Yeah. And they don't want to pop their head out because anybody who ever popped their head out and said, I'm an individual, I don't like this. Yeah. They saw that happen. So they go back to the herd, back to the herd, back to the herd. And, so I think that's a big problem because they don't want to ever be unpopular. And if someone says, that's unpopular, that's not cool, they go, yeah. Instead of going, actually, I love it.
Right.
I really love it. I want to be over there. I want to do that. When someone says, that's uncool, they go, yeah, you're right. It really is peer pressure. It really is this collective mindset. And it's bad. I think it's really bad. Go back and read 1984, everybody. I'm telling you. Yeah. I know I'm harping on it, but I read it again. I read it when I was in junior high. With you. I read it in junior high, and then I read it again as an adult, and it was just this year when I read it, and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
There's not a day that goes by that I'm like, are we living in simulation? Is this actually happening? I tried to interview a doctor who pre-COVID was arguably one of the most respected and the most published cardiologists in America. He's been taken off of YouTube because he's got some concerns about vaccines. Well, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I'm vaxxed, but I'd like to know, what are you concerned about? Is there something I should be aware of? Let me have the information and disseminate it myself. Canceled, banned on YouTube, and if I interview him, our channel will get banned on YouTube. And I was like, this is it's terrifying.
Yeah. I had a choice for 2 years. I could go without any money, no job, no work, or I could take the vaccine. That was my choice.
Which did you do?
I had to take the vaccine.
You had to take the vaccine.
I had to. Either that or my kids don't eat. My mortgage doesn't get paid.
Right.
You know, I just would have liked the choice to have been more mine. That's all. But and I talked to my doctor about it. It's not like I just did it blindly. I had a good conversation with my doctor, and I figured, okay, I can do this. But I just didn't. It was something about being forced to do it that never sits right with me. You should never be forced to do things.
Right. I completely understand.
So that just never sat well with me. But you do what you have to do for 2 years if you want to pay the bills.
Well, you saw Fauci in the Senate hearing saying, like, we made it impossible on purpose. Like, you think you're not going to get it? I mean, he's bragging about it. Mm-hmm. And the man has worked for every single administration, by the way. So who's...
The industry I work in made it very clear.
Yeah, of course. Actually, I want to go back to 9/11 now. So this is... Forgive me, this is 2001, obviously, right? So this is post your time in Iraq, I'm guessing, because you did go to Iraq.
Oh, no, I went to Afghanistan.
That's right, after 9/11.
Yeah, after.
Okay,
got it. I did go to Iraq.
Where am I getting? You did go. Okay, I was like, I thought for sure.
Excuse me. It was with a...
Let me get you a little more water.
It was with a...
Guys, can I get another water for Rob, please?
It was with a USO tour. I went there a couple times with different USO tours.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm sorry, what was your question?
So you're in New York during 9/11.
Yeah.
And you end up going to ground zero, which I wanted to ask you, like, how do you not have cancer? But before we get there, tell me about that experience. He's like, I can't even. I remember just watching it on my way to a client's first thing in the morning in Los Angeles. I get to her house, it's on the news, and I remember thinking it was an accident. Right up until the second plane slams into the second tower. Everyone's running out, and you guys go running in.
Well, yeah, so I was the same way. I was in New York City. I was in Manhattan. I was in Midtown. I was a pilot. So I when someone came and said, hey, a plane just flew into World Trade Center, I was like, this is the most beautiful day I've ever seen. I go, so
how is that possible?
How is that possible? And then my next question was it a little plane or a big plane? And then she was like, I think it was a big plane. So I was like, well, that doesn't, I just couldn't compute it. So I got up and went and checked the news and saw, it was burning. And I was like, wow, well, that doesn't look like a Cessna did that. That looks like a good sized plane. And, we're all speculating on what happened. We're sitting around talking, just like you, second plane. And, it was very dramatic, obviously. I had just left active duty in 2000. So this is 2001. And I was in the reserves. There was a reserve unit in Manhattan, MTU 17, and I was part of that unit. And when it happened, when the second plane hit, everybody went home. Everybody just went home. And I was watching TV like everybody else. I got a call from my commanding officer saying, hey, we just got activated. So tomorrow morning, put on your boots and utes and report down to One Police Plaza. And we're going to assemble at 0700 at One Police Plaza. And we'll tell you what's going to happen next there.
Fall is in full swing, and it's the perfect time to refresh your wardrobe with pieces that feel just as good as they look. And this is why I am obsessed with Quince. They make it easy to look polished, stay warm, and save big without ever compromising on quality. Quince has all the elevated essentials for fall. 100% Mongolian cashmere starting at just $50. Washable silk tops and skirts. Perfectly tailored denim. Honestly, the prices feel too good to be true. I mean, right now I'm loving their wool coats. They look totally designer, but cost a fraction of the price. And the quality, I mean, it's just as good, if not better. And here's how they do it. Quince partners directly with ethical top-tier factories, and they cut out the middlemen. And that means that you get luxury quality pieces at half the price of similar brands. So again, for me, my go-to has got to be the wool coats. Are the cashmere sweaters are fantastic. I mean, keep it classic and cozy this fall With long-lasting staples from Quince, just go to quince.com/Jillian for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns, which is bananas. That's quince.com/Jillian, QUINCE.com/Jillian to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Jillian. I mean, a crew neck, a coat, make it your staple for fall. I find myself reaching for it again and again. So if you're ready for a smart, stylish, effortless wardrobe, guys, upgrade and check out Quince. I choose Function because it's the only health platform that gives me data most people never see, and it gives me the insights to act on it. You can test over 100 plus biomarkers, hormones, toxins, heart health, inflammation, stress. And for an additional fee, you can also access MRI and CT scans. So all of this is tracked securely over time, and it gives you pretty much a 360-degree view of your health. And this is why top leaders like Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Jeremy London, they all stand behind Function. Your brain drives everything: memory, mood, decisions, your drive. But here's the problem. You can't feel it breaking down until it's too late. And brain health isn't just about avoiding disease. It's about how you live every day. Exercise improves blood flow and neuroplasticity. Sleep lowers inflammation and clears waste. And now we can measure that impact. Even proteins like beta amyloid 42, which are linked to Alzheimer's, shift how well you sleep and move. Your brain doesn't wait for you to notice a problem. And with Function, you don't have to. Track the biomarkers that matter most for brain health and see changes long before symptoms appear, because your brain is worth more than hoping for the best. Now, quite frankly, this has been an invaluable tool for me personally to not only track all my info in one place and subsequently make the best decisions for my health with my chosen wellness professionals. I also have an Alzheimer's gene. So as you can imagine, being preventative is critical for my ongoing health span. Now, you can learn more and you can join using my link. Function is a near 360-degree view to see what's happening in your body, and my 1,000 listeners get a $100 credit toward their membership. So visit www.functionhealth.com/Jillian or just use gift code Jillian100 at sign up to own your health. Active Skin Repair utilizes a molecule called hypochlorous acid. And when you apply it to the skin, the molecule works by mimicking the natural immune response to cleanse, soothe irritation, reduce inflammation, and support healing. Active Skin Repair can be used to treat a wide range of skin issues, including cuts, scrapes, burns, sunburns, diaper rashes, and other types of skin damage. And it's also safe and non-toxic, making it suitable for use on all skin types, all parts of the body, and you can even use it on rosacea, eczema, and acne-prone skin. With over 500,000 happy customers, thousands of 5-star reviews, and ingredients so safe and clean they can be used by the youngest member of the family to the oldest, you now have one simple solution for all of your family's skin health needs. So visit ActiveSkinRepair.com to learn more about Active Skin Repair and to get 20% off your order. Use the code Jillian. Again, that's ActiveSkinRepair.com and the code is Jillian.
And so we were like, okay, yeah, sir. Hung up. Next morning, got down to one police plaza. The whole unit was there. That's probably, I don't know, 30 of us. And we
30 of you.
Yeah, just 30. It's a Marine training unit, so it's a very small unit in Manhattan.
With a disaster of that proportion?
Well, but
that's just your group.
Just
okay.
Our unit.
Jay, you can fly that in, Mama.
That's just our unit.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, poor too. That's nice. It's a nice touch there, Shanice. Oh, leave the water, old girl.
Good girl. My first day on the earth.
Oh, there's
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. So there were 30 of you.
Yeah. So we reported to Ground Zero, and then they said, okay, we're going to start moving the rubble in the bucket brigades, because at the time it was 6 stories of rubble. And we didn't know if there were survivors. We didn't know if there were hundreds, thousands, We didn't know if anybody was alive or dead. We didn't know anything. All we knew is that if you brought in heavy equipment, you would have cave-ins, we thought. Plus, there were many buildings still around that were unstable. You know, when the tower fell, it carved out the front of buildings like Godzilla. It looked like a claw had gone through the front of a building. So there were unstable buildings still around that could collapse. And I think one of them did collapse, the next day, like World Trade Center 5 or 7 or something fell. So, there were more, it was unstable.
Yeah.
But time was of the essence because we didn't know if there were survivors. Nobody knew anything, right? Everybody, it was the biggest sucker punch since Pearl Harbor. So nobody knew what was happening. This was unfolding very, very quickly. So firefighters from all the tri-state area were coming in, first responders, everybody was coming in to help, especially to augment the NYFD because they had been hit so hard. So you had a lot of chiefs and military and law enforcement, and you just had a lot of people at one police plaza trying to figure out, okay, who's in charge? Who's doing this? What's your responsibility? What's your responsibility? So they took our unit and they said, go down to World Trade Center 1 on the south east corner. I remember because there was a Burger King down, and all the windows were blown out of this Burger King. It was all covered in ash. Everything was covered in ash and dust. But that's where we set up. We took our backpack, dropped our gear and everything. We just staged in the Burger King. And then we walked up, and like ants going up a hill, we just fell in line and we started passing buckets up and buckets down and buckets up and buckets down. And then every now and then they would blow a whistle and everybody would stop moving. And you could hear a pin drop. And they would lower listening devices down into the rubble. And they would listen for anything, banging, voices, anything. And they would do that for, 5 minutes. Then they'd bring it back up and say, okay, everybody back to work. And so you'd go back to work and you'd work. And then an hour later, everybody stopped. They'd do another listening. And this went on and on. So we worked 12 hours on, 12 hours off, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, 12 hours on, all the way until about September 18th.
Oh my God.
And then they pretty much decided it was no longer search and rescue.
Yeah.
At that point. That point, it was search and recovery. And most of the buildings that were still there, they felt were stable enough so they could start bringing in more people and more. And at that point, they brought in heavy machinery like bucket loaders and things like that to start bringing things out. And and then from the 18th to the 30th of September, I went to work in One Police Plaza. I was off the piles and back in the One Police Plaza. And all they gave us was a surgical mask.
I was going to say, that there are horror stories that have come out of just the cleanup zone of people who got super sick, all the chemicals in the air. And
I just remember it was it was like moon dust. Like when you stepped these clouds, the dust was so fine, it was so pulverized, that concrete was so pulverized that it was like moon dust. You stepped and a cloud would go up like 2 feet up to your knees, and it would just linger there. That's how light it was. And so every step you took just
had to be
powder.
surreal.
And it was, and burn out vehicles.
Like in Kosovo, this is New York City.
This is Manhattan.
Yeah.
And you got F-16s flying cover up and down the East River and the Hudson. And you're like, I've got F-16s flying cover over Manhattan while I'm trying to dig out the rubble of what used to be it was surreal. It was like a bad Godzilla movie. It was really on a scale you can't imagine. And then it rained at one point, and all that powder turned into a paste. And it was a wet concrete, burning metal smell I'll never forget. And it was, it was just everywhere down there. And then the recovery efforts just kept going and going and going. And then my orders were only from September 11th or 12th to the 30th. And then after the 30th, I was a captain in the Marines at the time. I had a very high security clearance for my job.
Your medals, by the way, I can't even understand them. They're like on Wikipedia. There's like 4 rows of them. Well, you got a lot of, you burned a lot of shit out. Like it's like in this medal, I was like, okay, I can't follow it. My ADD, there's like 20,000 of them. And So yeah, you were a lieutenant colonel or something, the captain,
By the time I got out, I was lieutenant.
So, and please, I had to throw that in lest I forget to just add that to your list of achievements.
I had a very high security clearance for my job, which is unusual. It was a green badge. It was a top secret with a SCIF clearance and all this stuff. And so I knew they were going to need people. So I volunteered. I told my commanding officer, I said, I'll go back on active duty if they need people.
Right.
And I knew they were going to need people. I mean, we were just about to start this major 20-year war
on terror, right?
And sure enough, I got orders from Central Command on November 11th, November 10th, the Marine Corps birthday, to report to Central Command. So I got the orders on November 10th, rented a car in New York because I didn't have a car, rented a car in New York, drove to North Carolina, processed back into the Marine Corps.
Did you want to go back into the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
You just got to New York. You probably wanted to start your...
Well, I did, but my country was just attacked,
So you were obviously there doing stand-up.
I was doing improv, yeah.
And then you had to leave it and... Yeah. Oh, that's so tough, Rob. Jesus.
So then my parents drove from Kansas City out to North Carolina and met me in North Carolina. I turned in the rental car. They gave me their car. I drove from there down to Tampa, Florida, which is where Central Command is. Checked in at Central Command on November 17th. And then like November probably 26th or 7th, 10 days later, I was on a plane to Afghanistan. And no, this is 2001. This is 2001. Like, we hadn't even taken the southern part of the country yet. Like, we were just where the movie 12 Strong, where that movie ends, they are capturing Mazar-e-Sharif, which is the biggest city in the north, okay, of Afghanistan. That's where the movie ends. A week after that is where I joined them. And in the movie, in 12 Strong, I play Lieutenant Colonel Max Bowers, who was my commanding officer when I got to Afghanistan, when I got to Mazar-e-Sharif.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait, let me clarify this.
Yeah.
You in the movie,
yeah,
you play your commanding officer from real life.
Yeah. Small world. Really small world.
How did I not pick that up?
And he was
That's
like,
incredible.
and I called him, or I texted him and I said, hey, I'm playing you in the movie or whatever. And he's like, oh, Jesus, Riggle. You better get it right, So I was like, I think I know you, sir. I'll do my best. But yeah, so I was in Afghanistan in 2001.
Okay. If I could say something that will repulse you, but not intentionally, but in the interest of authenticity, I'm fascinated by the military because of their courage, and the Marines and SEAL Team 6. And I know a ton about it from what a regular person can know. And I've listened to, even during the RNC, they had the World War II veteran who was on the beaches of Normandy. And my son's like, who's that guy? And I thought to myself, I would never let you go. In my mind, I was like, I would shoot you in the foot. Like, I wouldn't do it, Rob. I could never stomach my kids going, no matter how noble the cause. Hitler, the Taliban. Nor do I don't have the courage. And I'm wondering what is missing from me, because if I was on the beaches of Normandy, or if I was in Afghanistan at that time, I think I would be thinking, like, how do I get the fuck out of here? Do I play dead? I've imagined it, being a coward. And I hate myself for that, but I'm being dead honest with you. And I want to understand what is happening in your mind that you're like, yeah, I got this. What would you just do? You just have it?
I don't know.
What is it?
I truly don't know.
Is it self-talk?
It's not. I don't think it's one thing. I don't think it's a silver bullet. I don't think it's one thing. I think it's a combination of things.
What?
I don't know. I think it's a sense of duty. I think it's a sense of patriotism. I think it's also a sense of right and wrong. I am fully aware that this country has issues.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. There's not a country on earth that doesn't.
Agreed.
Okay. I still think, even with our issues, I still think we offer the best possibility for people to chase their dreams, to worship how they want to worship, to speak freely, to live a life of freedom and peace and the pursuit of happiness. I still believe that's real as well. Very real, more real. It doesn't get talked about enough, but that is real. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are risking their lives to come here to live. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening in other places. No one's risking their life to get into North Korea. No one's risking their life to get into China. No one's risking their life to get into Russia. There's reasons for that. Nobody wants to talk about them, but there are reasons. And the reason is because this is a really good country. At the end of the day, we have issues, not denying, but it's really good. So I do believe in that. I also believe that there are bad operators in this world, and history has shown that to be true. Mm-hmm. Go back to Genghis Khan, go back to Hitler, go back to Stalin. There are bad operators in this world, and left unchecked, they will kill millions of people.
But what makes you go, it's going to be me?
Because this is my little time on the stage of life, and I
want just a fraction of your courage. Just a piece of it I want so badly.
But it can happen. The thing is, as scary is, Germany was a first world nation. It wasn't a second world, it wasn't a banana republic. It was a first world nation full of unbelievable intellects. Very smart people, very good middle class, very smart. And they were seduced. Mm-hmm. And they went down a dark path.
Right.
It can happen, right? And left unchecked, if those men had not gone onto the beach in Normandy and reclaimed and drove across, and the sacrifices, if they didn't do that, there could still be a swastika flying somewhere. Mm-hmm. So it has to happen. Sometimes,
everywhere.
Sometimes you have to stand up to the bully. You have to.
You have to. Though, I remember.
You have to. Whether it's on a schoolyard.
Okay.
Whether it's at work.
Right. These little micro.
You can take it down to the micro, or you can take it to the macro. But at some point, the bully has to be faced. And nobody wants to do it.
Nobody wants to do it.
And nobody wants to fight, but somebody's got to know how. And that's why you have a Marine Corps.
Right. Okay. And are we having a crisis with recruiting kids now? I don't remember the name of this guy, but I remember a clip on, I think it's Chris Williams' podcast, and he was in the military, clearly high up, and he was just ranting about how all these young recruits, their bodies are out of shape and their brains are mush, and you can't fight anybody with these bodies. And are we having a crisis recruiting soldiers right now? And question 2, which I kind of alluded to, there's now talk, and I want to make sure I'm not getting this right, because I'm hearing this sort of in the media tangentially, and I haven't honed in on it, but there was a headline, is it time for women to register for the draft? Congress considers a change. Lawmakers are considering a measure that would require women to register for the draft. So I thought, A, what are your thoughts on that? And B, is there a crisis of we're considering a draft? I didn't even know we were considering. What's going on there?
No. Well, first of all, the recruiting, it is what it is. We've had an all volunteer force since 1975.
Right.
Which means you sign up or you don't sign up.
Right.
Okay. And that's how it is still. There's no threat of a draft.
Then why
but they always keep a draft available.
Oh.
If Russia decides to launch nuclear weapons and we go into a full nation-state war,
it's on.
You're going to have to mobilize your population.
Got it.
And therefore a draft would be necessary. And so they have to have the mechanisms in place.
Understood.
God forbid that ever happens.
Okay.
It should never happen. We have mutually assured destruction, so it should never happen. But that's why you have these measures in place. It's break glass in case of emergency. So the draft, probably not coming back.
Okay.
That's why we have a volunteer force. The volunteer force is very strong. It's very good. You're getting, there's no recruiting problems. Yes, it ebbs and flows from year to year. Sometimes you over-recruit, sometimes you under-recruit. You don't make your numbers. Sometimes you make your numbers. So long as they don't lower the standard, then you're fine. It's when they start playing games with the standard. that you run into problems, in my opinion. So as they keep the standard what it is for physical fitness, for mental acuity, for emotional stability. You have to take all these tests. You just don't walk in. People think you just walk in and sign up. It doesn't work like that. They do have standards.
Okay, got it.
Physical fitness.
You can get into
standards.
like boot camp, but you can't get into the Marines.
Well, you can get in the Marines, but Marines have high standards.
Yeah, okay,
higher than
got
others. But that's why we have boot camps. And we have boot camps is so that you can get, if we have a Marine that comes into boot camp who's not ready, you get to do boot camp twice, which sucks.
Oh, God. Oh, no. God.
So a lot of, people that sign up for the Marines, make sure they're in shape when they go to boot camp, right?
Okay. That does sound terrible.
Because they're going to make you a Marine. If you sign up to be a Marine, you're going to become a Marine come heck or high water.
Okay.
And so the recruiting's there. With regard to the second part, which was women being included in the draft sign up. When I was 18, I went down to the post office. I registered for the draft because that's what we were supposed to do. It's part of your patriotic duty. It's part of what you're supposed to do it as an American citizen. This is what you're supposed to do as an 18-year-old male. We live in a world now where women and men have equal opportunity.
It's like you want it, yeah.
So welcome to the team.
Okay.
Come on down, sign up. When you turn 18, put your name on the little card down at the post office and turn it in. And God forbid there's a draft, but if there is, welcome aboard.
Right. Fair.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
That's a great attitude. I've Janice has signaled me that I've overkept you. She's like, Jill. I'm like, okay, all right. That said, you're such an inspiration on top of being an entertainer, and you clearly are brimming with wisdom. So how can we learn more from you and be entertained? What's going on? What's next? Tell us everything.
Well, I'm like everybody else in this town. I'm a working actor, so I'm out there trying to get gigs. I'm out there trying to
hustling.
I'm hustling. It never ends. There's no finish line in show business. I learned that early. Because when I was on SNL, it was over pretty quickly. Because when I got on SNL, I thought, ba-boom, baby. I just sit back and it all comes to daddy. Well, guess what? Once they shit can you, all of a sudden you're like, oh God. You're back out on the grind. So I realized it doesn't matter, even people that have on these major hit shows and have these
like you.
There's never it's never done. All you do is go from gig to gig to gig and hope that you get good gigs that give you another opportunity to do another good gig and you stay in the game as long as it'll have you. And so I don't know where I was going with that, but
that you're a hustler still. Even with your level of success, you still grind.
It never is. There's no finish line in show business. And the one thing that I'm starting to learn is, as far as wisdom or any kind of advice I could pass on, is you have to have a combination of things that you do, but the secret ingredient to everything is discipline. It's discipline. You have to have that. If you have that, motivation, inspiration, all these other things will come into play, but you have to have the discipline to get up. Not necessarily work out, but do something active. If you want to be physically better, you got to be disciplined to do that. If you want to be a writer, you got to be disciplined enough to write your pages. If you want to be an actor, you got to be disciplined enough to get up on stage, to sign up for the things. I find that real progress comes from discipline, and everything else. Don't get me wrong; it's not one silver bullet. There's a combination of factors that you need, but I think the secret ingredient is discipline.
And you also have a podcast, though, because
and check out Riggle's Picks.
But I was going to say, because now we're getting like these brilliant talents that are willing to do this. We've got we've got Bill's now doing it, Howie's doing it, and it's like you can just access your mind. Where do we get how often does it drop? I mean, I know, but tell everybody.
I think podcast is anywhere you get podcasts. You can find Riggle's Picks. We do fun interviews, I think, and we keep it lighthearted. And I do it with a friend of mine Darren Leader, who's a very funny guy. We talk about issues. We don't drill down, but sometimes it's very real. Sometimes it's comedic. It's just a lot of fun. It's a good hang. It's a good hang.
You are certainly a good hang.
Well, thank you. Right back at you.
I can't thank you enough for coming on, and thank you for your service, and thank you for making us laugh all these years.
Oh, good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And make sure to let me know what guests you want to see on in the future.